Everybody, thanks for joining me. It is Monday, March 2nd, 2020. Have a few things I just want to talk about today, some interesting things that I discovered or came across and thought you might be interested in them as well. Anybody that may happen to be subscribed or watch my videos, you know that I'm fairly obsessed with Chainlink and TEZOS. Came across an interesting article. Coinbase custody has added more than 12 million XTZ in delegations over the last month. I think that's a huge milestone and shows the interest in the product and its services and baking in general. And Tezos is a great project. Fairly obsessed with Tezos and fairly obsessed with Link. This article talks about how strong Link and Tezos has been during this little dip we've had here. So I'll go ahead and include this article. I read that Binance has actually partnered with a bank. So it says first bank ever to integrate directly with Binance. And this is a Turkish bank. So I thought that was interesting. And it shows the state of the world and the way things are going. Another interesting article was on the Finance Magnets site. So this is more of a finance website. So if you're into cryptocurrencies, you probably don't know anything about this site. They do have a cryptocurrency section, but I came across and so this is more of a normie website for finance and whatever. But came across an interesting article. BaFin classifies crypto as a financial instrument. So that's pretty interesting. And basically, it's making the regulatory mandated license for all crypto custody by November. So this is great. Anybody that doesn't know, so BaFin is Germany's federal financial supervisory authority. But yeah, it goes by BaFin. This is a great, interesting article. Hope you'll take a look at it. Talks about AML, talks about Germany moving forward and classifying cryptos as an actual financial instrument. So that's really great. Somebody mentioned the other day they were pretty hot about a specific token in relationship to DTCC, and it sparked my memory of an old article that I ran across that spelled out some interesting things about the DTCC modernizing. And I'll just read this little blurb here and include the article below. Since selecting the consortium of IBM, Exani, and R3, DTCC and its partners have completely recoded the functionality of the TIW, utilizing DLT and cloud in only 8 months. IBM is leading the initiative by providing program management, DLT expertise, and integration services. Exani provides the distributed ledger infrastructure and smart contract applications built on Axe Core blockchain protocol, and R3 is acting as the solution advisor. So if anyone is influenced by recent information about what the DTCC is doing in their modernizing programs, they are continuing to follow through with their tests and everything else in their plan, which they've had in place for a long time. I remember reading articles back in 2016, 2017. This one is from 2018. So go ahead and take a look. I think you'll have a better understanding about where they're actually going. If you just read their actual words instead of some talking head YouTuber telling you what they're going to be using, that's always folly. So if you can go get as close to the information as you can, that's always best. Anyway, TIW, it stands for Trade Information Warehouse. I probably should have made that clear. Came across another useful website if you're interested in knowing about, it's called GapRadar, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with that or not, but this shows basically, it ranks the top blockchain dApps. It talks about their volume, transactions. Obviously, we have to be very careful when we're talking about transactions. There can be various things, a dApp talking to a dApp, a bot talking to a dApp it also shows as a transaction. So be careful making the assumption that these are actual users using these things. But I think this is a really cool site if something you want to follow, or, if you have your favorite project here, EOS, kind of want to see, all the dApps and their rankings there, or ETH or IOST or VChain or Neo. They don't have them all, but they have a few. And I'll also include this Somebody made a pretty interesting chart, but it's pretty unusable because the overlays. But anyway, I might include that. So onto our, it seems like daily, I want to talk about Chainlink or Tezos, but came across a really great podcast, Chainlink on Chainlink. It's Oracle's DeFi and the social impact with Sergey. This is really great. It's almost an hour, a little over 45 minutes, I guess. This is a great podcast. You might want to check this out. If you're interested in Chainlink, if you want to learn more, if you want to know what they're doing. Talks about the Polkadot integration, which I thought was really good. Talked about like how to trust off-chain data, which I thought was really cool, really good. Talks about Chainlink use cases, things like that. Another great kind of catch-up article came across was Tezos continues to advance forward in the STO space. This kind of, if you've been away from the space a little while, or you're wondering kind of where they're at with the STOs and the infrastructures, this talks about, all the developments as of late. That's absolutely great, and it's in one article. So I'm going to include this. This will get you up to speed if you're curious about STOs on Tezos. And then the last one here on Tezos, Kiln version 0.8.0, basically been released, Carthage and new node storage backend. This is great. It's a little technical, but I know there's people out there that are starting to listen to my YouTubes that like more technical stuff. So this is cool. This will get you up to speed. And it talks about the integration with Ledger, which is interesting, and what it means and the backwards compatibility of Carthage. So, and Kiln. So this is a really good article. So I'm going to include that. Another great, so this will be the last thing I talk about today, but another great podcast I came across that I was unaware of is Into the Ether. Their podcast presented by ETHub. This is really great, diving into Ethereum 2.0 research, DeFi, and flash loans with Joseph DeLong. So I'm going to include this as well. This is great. This is about 50 minutes long and wonderful podcast. And it's something you might want to subscribe to. I know we all have limited amounts of time, but I feel like there's really good resources out there that if people just in general would focus in on, they would have much clearer ideas about projects, state of development, where we're at in timeline, because you're getting the information right from the people building instead of people commenting on whatever, news thing or Simpsons episode or whatever pops up that day. So I guess that's all I have. Thank you very much for watching. Appreciate the subscribes and the likes and all that stuff, or the dislikes. All the applicable links will be below. And thank you very much and have a wonderful day. Hope you guys find this stuff interesting or useful. See ya.